Assalamu alaikum, wonderful viewers. Welcome back to another episode of the Political Outlook here on Eco TV International, the People's Choice, where we invite politicians, youths, and women to discuss about the current issues in our country here. And today, our esteemed guest is Mr. Kurang, #Abedulale. We will talk to him inshallah shortly. But before that, you can kindly follow us on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. Sponsors are also invited. You can call on the numbers on the screen to sponsor this program. I am your host, Nohiri Ture. Assalamu alaikum, Mr. Kurang.
Wa alaikum salam, Rahi. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Abedulale, I do. I do telephone pare.
Thank you very much for honoring this invitation. Last time you were at the studio, we talked about many issues that are concerning in the country here. And today also we are back again to discuss on certain things regarding our electoral system. We've started the registration. And there are many things surrounding it as of now.
Sure.
We would like to talk about that and regarding Singinja also, and the tribal sentiments that are going on in the country here. Yesterday, the youths also were arrested, members of Gala. Some of them were arrested for doing their 1-year anniversary. We will talk about all those things and many other things. But first of all, we would like to start with the voter registration fraudulent. We've seen that you were at the provinces doing certain things. So what can you tell us about the progress of voter registration from the places you were at?
Thank you very much. I think everybody knows that elections are very important, because elections is what determine the life of a country, where we are going, for the next 5 years. And this is the supplementary registration. So I, happen to be lucky to see the process in so many places. In Barrow here, where I stayed, I witnessed the process. And, every, I would say every area or every community has, its own, issues, right? Starting with Barrow, I seen the members of the community complaining about the alcalo, in the sense that sometimes you have some alcalos who tend to, because this year the process is like the IEC will give you an attestation after supposedly an interview. You would take the attestation to the alcalo, and then the alcalo would endorse it depending on whether he can confirm that you are a citizen of the place or he knows you that you are a Gambian. Now, in Barrow here, obviously, what we have seen is that sometimes the alcalos tend to favor, people who, are supposedly close to the ruling government. This is complaints I have had, that if attestations go, for those people who are close to the NPP, they don't tend to be rejected or tend to be questioned too much. But if the attestation is from the opposition, I've had people complaining that the alcalo maybe favors people, or if it is for the opposition, they tend to find it more difficult to get an attestation. I've been around more to other places, like I went up to URR, and also some parts of CRR and the North Bank. But generally, as a whole, what I have seen is that the regime is bent on defrauding the process. We already know what happened in Combo, in Tanje, having a lady with a bunch of birth certificates and giving out. What I have seen in the provinces in CRR, in North Bank, and also in URR is the people are coming that are so young that even if you look at them, you know that this person is not up to 18, and they are coming in large numbers to acquire the voter's card. I think this has caused a lot of conflicts, in so many other places. There are some border areas that we have had reports, for example, in LRR, that the regimes and its people are bringing in foreigners. Even in town here, in the Combos here, I've seen incidents like that, where people go and get an attestation and they are not citizens of the country. Because the question that some of the opposition ask are very relevant. This is not about being anti-foreigner or anything. I think that's a propaganda from the NPP government to say that they are against foreigners. That's not true. every Gambians are used to foreigners. Many of us travel, and so everybody has a relative that is in another country. But Senegal, will Senegal be happy about Gambians voting in Senegal? When they were having elections in recently, they made sure that they closed all the borders, and they even warned Gambians and Guineans not to go to Senegal to vote. That doesn't mean that Senegal is xenophobic. Now, if you vote in Senegal, or you vote in Bissau, or you vote in Conakry, because you have the papers there, why do you think Gambians should let you come and vote in this country simply because you have a brother here or a sister here or anything like that? No, that's cheating. That's a crime. You cannot do cross-border voting. And this is what we are saying, right? Most people who are in Senegal, they vote in Senegal. Gambians have no problem acquiring papers of Senegal if they go through the natural process. In Gambia also, if you are from Senegal or any other neighboring country, you don't have any problem to get Gambian papers if you go through the proper channel. But if you don't go through the proper channel and out of the blue you just come and said you need an attestation, you have been in this country for 40 years, you are 40 years old or above, or 30 years old or above, you've never had any paper to show, no ID card, no birth certificate, no nothing, and then you just appear, you said you need an attestation. Obviously, the agents will be suspicious, and they will have to ask you questions. And when they ask you questions, you should not be offended. The minors also, some people, you just look at them, and obviously, you know, they are less than 18 years old, you have to ask them questions. So these are the issues that the opposition are raising. And I think it is in good order, right? And it is in the spirit of the law. They are not breaking any law. Why are agents supposed to be in the registration center? Agents are supposed to be in the registration center because they are supposed to verify the process and record. We went to Sabah Sanjal and some other places, and when we get in there, you know, we found lots of people at the polling center with let's say children trying to register them. And when we came, we started asking some questions, and the agents started asking some questions. They disappeared. And why did they disappear? Because those people knew what they were doing. It's not correct, it's not legal. So they have to hide, right? And this is what is happening. And I've seen that the NPP is paining them, or why people are complaining about the process. But, you know, this is beyond elections. This is about rule of law. It's about protecting the integrity of the country. That just like how the integrity of Senegal or Guinea is protected, Gambia also needs to protect its integrity and the integrity of its elections.
And also regarding this electoral registration fraudulent, Singinja is spotted many times in various places, bringing in foreigners or minors to register. And many people complain, but still nothing has been done about it, and the government is being quiet about the issue. So what is your whole assessment about the case?
Yeah, I mean, like they said in Wall of Opadava too, you know, it's just too much. And I think God is prepared probably to expose Singinja, you know, in the sense that the moment the registration started, he is a member of parliament, a nominated member of parliament. Nominated members of parliament are selected in the history of this country or any other country because of their expertise, you know, and also because of their independence, right, in participating in the rule of law in the National Assembly, or in the writing or making of laws in the National Assembly. This is the reason I know why they select a nominated MP. But what we have seen for Singinja's case is that, you know, he is putting his hands everywhere. The moment registration started, Sidi was in polling centers. The first incident we had was in Latrikunda Sabije, and he was there intimidating, you know, officials and agents of other parties, and trying to force the registration of certain people. I mean, why a nominated member of parliament? And why the intimidation? It happened when there is the incident in Tanje. So we had the Singinja was there up to the police station. So Singinja has become more like a, you know, a jungler, you know, in the sense that we had about junglers in the military rule, but now we have political jungler. We're simply somebody who is prepared to go out and do anything, right? Or in the name of the dictator, or in favor of the ruling party. So that attitude is very wrong. And then obviously, worst of all, we just had his audio, you know, where he made very derogatory remarks against taxpayers of certain ethnic groups, specifically the Maninkas. I mean, it's so unfortunate. I would not want to see a Maninka castigating other tribes or talking about some tribes in that way, or, you know, a Fula doing it. For me, I'm a teacher, right, for 20-something years, and I always defend the right of every student. So when I sit in a classroom, I see somebody bullying another person because of tribe, it's my duty to intervene. And I see no difference when I come out of the classroom. It's natural for me to do that. But what is most disappointing is that this shows a pattern of the Barrow regime, because what he explained, that he was capable and willing to victimize civil servants based on their ethnic background. That's alarming. We've never had that in Jawara's time. Even in Yahya Jammeh's time, we never had those kind of blatant, you know, things about intervention in the civil service. Well, people can do it, but this is politics and this is reality. When we have evidence, then we speak. People say, oh, some of the people, I call them hypocrites, say, oh, somebody have said it, somebody, but the proof against Singinja is indisputable that this guy is not fit, that this guy just wants to end the way he started. And how did he start? He started, when we knew him, by calling Mr. Impasse, trying to put the whole country into chaos, you know, by denying the results and saying that the president would not be sworn in. So he was a devil's advocate from the beginning. And then, now we see, he joined the regime, the current regime, based on no merit, based on the fact that he can speak lies to power, and he's continuing to do it, and he's prepared to do it to throw the country into chaos anytime. I don't blame him. I blame the president, because I think whatever Gambians say about Singinja, Adama Barrow is fully and 100% responsible that whatever Singinja is doing or saying, he has got the endorsement of Adama Barrow. We have seen no reaction. He is not dismissed. He is not asked to resign. The government has not responded in any way. The MPP has not responded. That is what is worrying, because what that shows, you know, it shows here, to me, it shows that the final days of Barrow are about, you know, coming, because Gambia is such a unified society, and if you attack that unity, you become the victim instead of the perpetrator. We've seen, I believe that Yahya Jammeh became a victim of his own actions, and one of the bellboys of Yahya Jammeh, Singinja, is now propagating what finished his first master is most likely going to finish his second master. So, you know, I am trying to say that Gambians must look to handle this issue very sensitively. You know, a lot of us come from multi-ethnic backgrounds. If Singinja says this, it doesn't mean that we have to go and attack the other tribe or the other ethnic groups. No, we have to see this as Barrow is determined to entrench himself in power. That Barrow wants to be in power no matter how much it costs. And he is looking for junglers like Singinja to do his dirty job.
Thank you very much. And tribalism is something that when it starts in a country, it doesn't end.
Yeah.
Even if it will end, it will cost. It will cost definitely, because everybody loves his or her tribe. And nobody should be apologetic for being a particular tribe, because that is what God chose for you. So Singinja, as the deputy speaker, him saying that since his audio leaked, many people, especially the citizens, they are urging him to resign or him being fired, but no result has ever been out since then. So should he be fired or should he resign by himself?
Yeah, I mean, if he has some dignity, he will resign. But I doubt it if he has any dignity. So the only thing is he should be fired. And if he is not fired, people have to hold Barrow responsible. Right? So that for me is my simple conclusion. Sidi should resign. If Sidi don't resign, we have to hold Barrow responsible. In whatever way we can, we have to hold Adama responsible. And it's all, if, as they said, history repeats itself. I just mentioned Jammeh, but you know, Barrow has so many other examples to know that, you know, maintaining an ethnic balance is very important in a country. Right? He has examples to show that trying to keep yourself in power by any means necessary doesn't work. He has a recent example of Macky Sall. How did what did Macky do? Macky tried to frustrate every democratic process in Senegal by victimizing and arresting people in order to keep himself in power for so long. Did it work? It didn't work. It backfired against him. Mubalo of Guinea-Bissau tried to do the same thing. Did it work? It didn't work in his favor. So how does Barrow think that what didn't work in history will work in his favor? I mean, I don't get upset with Siri as much as I would even get, 1% upset with Adama for what is happening, because I hold him responsible, and if Siri doesn't resign by himself and Barrow doesn't fire him, it just gives us more fire to make sure that Adama Barrow must not get a third term in this country.
And many people are also arguing that Singinja is the president. Barrow is just there for the face, because if Singinja doesn't want anything to happen, it will not happen. People are saying that is the case. So right now, our country and the people are in his hand. Is that true?
That could be true, because, Barrow, we know, when he came first, he said, I don't know how to do this thing. But he still doesn't know how to do this thing. And when you are in a position and you are like a fish out of water, you are just panting everywhere, like Adama is panting. They give him notes to go to rallies to say what he says. He says it very eloquently in local languages, but you can say deep inside, this man is not in control of what he's saying. When he talks about his projects, when he talks about his 500-meter borehole and other wild claims that he's doing, even the infrastructural projects that he is doing, he cannot correlate and coordinate them into his overall holistic national development agenda. So there are a lot of problems with the president, a lot of weaknesses. I happen to be one of the people to participate in the investigation of Yahya Jammeh, and I tell people, when you look at his files, you see that he takes notes. Does Barrow take notes? When I see a man who takes notes, I know. Because when he is reading, you know that these are not his notes that he is reading. So how can a president be in control if he lacks the basic faculty to process basic functions that has got to do with him? Legal, military, political, economic, etc. functions. So when Barrow is in that kind of situation, he will hang on to anything or any devil that comes to him and tell him, I can get you out of this. Basic human analogy. If you don't believe in the Quran as a faith, you resort to other things. We Muslims say you resort to the devilish things. And why? Because you see a shortcut. So if you are not able to maintain this basic administrative discipline and culture that we have in the Gambia government since the time of the British up to now, right? You are losing them. You don't have control over them. You will, however, U.S. Barrow is still greedy for power, and because he is greedy for power, he is going to look for anything, any stroke, to see that Kajago, yes, I will remain myself in power. And here comes Sidi in the equation, who is willing to do any dirty job, who is willing to say anything. Because Sidi in all his life, since when he was in school, Yajame accused him of tampering with students' money. He was in courts, right, and charged and arraigned and arrested. So from his school days, this man has been telling lies to power. So here he sees a president that is so naive and so greedy for power. So Sidi has an opportunity to whisper into Barrow's ears and tell him anything that he wants to hear. So he controls the narrative. That's how you control a government. It doesn't mean that Barrow is afraid of him or not, but he has some inherent weaknesses, which is his lack of comprehension, 1, and 2, his greed for power, that is, putting him in the hands of wolves that are ready to do anything to the country. So if you tell me, you ask me the question, is Sidi the most powerful man? I say Barrow is the weakest president we ever had. So not only Sidi, don't be surprised. Sidi just talk about the areas that he did. But there are other people that were around Barrow that have the same leverage or similar leverage as Sidi has. When you the informal kind of, what do we call it, informal structures or grapevine, whatever we call it, when it takes over power, it is very difficult to objectively analyze it. But you have to make assumptions. And what are the assumptions here? Why does the man want to stay in power at all cost? Pure greed for power. Corruption that has happened, they want to sit on it. So there are a lot of network of people who have an interest in maintaining that power system. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm with local language. Just recently, one of the IEC supervisors resigned than to register ineligible voters who can register at a resign place and people are applauding him because dignity la muta ata tanka ani banko fana. So saying what la karola ite muna jawde simna fono mole funding Kenya na karo.
Yeah, I heard about it. I think somewhere in LRR, and you know, from going around when I was going, Kabirum Bitakang, Nakumoi, Kwaketa, Mansakonko, Banko Kande, but it not understanding Mantaraje on that scene. I was in another place, but Namenje Walamintiko, me for the police station or the mayor uncle, MPP parade line cool killer. Ikam la mob ibele alkalo taraje ni sefo bije ba talaje yala ya sefo do mo la ba pala ko mbije ngajine ke jalamba ngajine ke jalamba be fana do wala nya alkalo be sinja na stampo councilor MPP councilor bije ila committee member bije ila mobilize al committee mobilize maimuna balde ngol and all those people ibele ka taraje. So imagine an IEC officer, you know, one person or two, you know, trying to do their work innocently. You have this whole community surround you. It's okay intimidately. You understand? So I confusing, I disorient. I saw that because in front of blood maybe coming to you know, they started dispersing. But no one can for the police station and it will do what agent confused and lose confidence. The agent will confuse that and lose confidence. Nankake, he can very easily Amari see Isaja I relax, like we say, he yield to them. Come Abeson na kuela me alonko on a normal circumstance sonal. So no naman sonna we press off akalafa onya because ni ajibe man independent observers je many local politicians je. You know, the more press on the kelakal, particularly in a strong areas, puruka more cross the border and in minors register. So agent definitely saying one police station, IEC officer Bafala you must see, you register all. And they were still arguing with the team. So I tell you president Katara IEC officer Dolkang, Hana Atara left no atilindila. That undue pressure of a whole community and I yapikang, I'm not physically yapikang, but I surround the cool for like building for dolby. So yeah, they can because now they make it in LRR you never resign the thing. Then you will category MPP. So MPP is going around insulting IEC officers who want to work independently. I mean, how can I blame? No Barrow told me that I need a symbol in a cold baby. You can Casade Mol Sukusukude. A Singinja Chival Casade Mol Sukusul Cavo 9 in front of the Jalikitan. Be impossible. You understand it? So, why are Timnalako? Why you can do Nalago? Yes. It means no Kabe resign under those circumstances. It I blame Nola, and it is a true story. Yes, you know, because now confirmed from very reliable sources, that's what happened. So, me is a warning to all governments. Ko Adamu Barrow, in 2026, already you know atinyale. You go know atinya, you na funo tale, mele alonko mata silola. You da pansol kele, mele alonko mata silola. You kuja maleke mele alonko mata silola. Kawol mabo ke mukundi ke dinko sin ke sarinje, wala mitika election of sooner. So, if we go into 2026, by any means, ko Adamanyanta Kanyela by force. You understand? So, whenever black and there, so no IEC agent or IEC officer has resigned because of that. Yes, I will not say it is not possible. IEC officer don't be all pressure because one katara parallel. They are part of them. You understand? So they want to work with the NPP because they are part of the NPP. You know, so which is very, very disappointing because most of them, they don't even know what harm they are causing to their country. And, you know, alako, momo on the Yemen, alabe jola wala. So, na believe like, momo on the Yemen, alabe jola wala. And Adam ka wala moy, and ni Singinja ka wala moy. This country, ni bankola dual ka jabile. Because, ngawe fo mole wala nyintiko, ni Adam ke mi ako, momo Yemen ke be jola wala. Ya jamme, jawra kabra botaje. He suffered. Because he went to England and then he had to come back to his home country because he cannot stay in England. So Jawara Botana England, Yajamanata Ajiajam. Yaya Lonko Jawara has problems, particularly financial problem, at Jawara Korasang in Banjul and Yundum. Kabunda ya investigate la Aerohila Korasang, Mamadi Korasang, I get DK Jawara former president of Korasang. Okay, fine. Ala Konyadi. It's not Mamadi who said it. But Banko Moya Kafino Mayave Barola. Jawala Kodame ya Sangani ya found a Kodabe Barobul. So for Baroya, I think I don't want Ayala Kavilo to bank. No! No, it's not like that. Karma is history repeats itself. So it comes from Baroya, it comes from because it comes from the more you misbehave, the more ugly your exit becomes. So I feel sorry for Adam and Nina being Kulkala and Setano Benyo Singinja, Bankola, Dankole Bano, Bankola, Hakole Banoma, because I diamo Kijan 2016 more fat how diamola colo. I diamo Kijan more sin Katita, no Buzo Luta, Latin, Singinja or diamol Kijan. Wahako mambang sai akasembe Adama Barrow fana abi banko moy tolna Singinja akay ku safno men ala jonkon kono tax money la carbon. What tax money jumale o kodo kabo mintol fa jolalam fa surwalam fa manin kala mo kodo kabo mo bele je mo mega kodo kafuno may kabi tela o kono amuka tara kolor ko ndo mu manin ko ta ndo mu suwal ta ndo mu sarulal ta Ukolo be ditela yasam be la bingo ni dimbayali be ikoto mo boss le fe kono ni fundi la pech comme Mamadi sai fo obe atin sai te ka ko fa yo kay ka fo ko min lafta to do ko soto la because boraten baro be sila nyabe la because atene kunu wala tambirete men kunu. So history repeats itself. Adam yanta haklo klo bakele because imanya ta nyamen mansa ikata wala nyama. So Adam nini Gambian ko man tala kunke ate bete aleto ngoy ko yajam ni jawra la korda wala be sa ite o kafu no maye korda do be ta yo kafu no chief justice la korda man ka yo kafu no kabin pabi diabuta dabo diamuta ka ko intere de barel Adam ay fanando barel ale andi bitale sa itanya yante mi la wala in Gambian ko ali laban kuke.
Inshallah, hashtag Abedulal. I do. But move on to la kola munyalo kana science mo be yalo ne banko kam aba koliyari bakele hani tol be aba koliyari bulle katu complain la wat ni dunta moto ko ni apprentice to som ko but ndeka jel ko apprentice ni drive wala faulting te ko mi passo mi yalo ko science te aba serli aba dendi munna la fuelo la zero so sen iyaji be kabo ser kunda lamen $25 la mi yalo ko it was $18 $25 la koliyata bakel ni bo la jang kata bir kama fana o fana ko dola de ndum kumol findi kale nga moy certain people lale ka foko government ka fonko soto jele profit soto jele nyinkata about $16 so ni if really they are worried about the people sa talano but they no manke so say ita fana yo koje nyaadi what is your take on that
because yalo fuelo be nyamen masakunda ning comme ni essence onata na futata poroto masakunda ka taxo le la fakal ba fuelo janko capital tax consumer tax whatever tax ika double le ala nyoka niko essence comme liter kilo $10 silati masakunda sinano la ay $5 sila faje men ko liter o sai aka $16 sila la fa liter kilinka. You understand? So wakat no lafa essence kan na $16 lafa je essence wa fi alfa nan ya sam menna ani man sakunda men lafa je yela profito lafa je yana wa fi molma so sai ni iko man sakunda na ta ko mole ko ha essence da mandia because Iraq Iran whatever Iran ni America Israel be wala but itole taxo men lafa je mofo maybe $16 in make alafaje janni wo kasi ye $2 la bondi je or $3 ka fo mole nga subsidize no ni aje wo taxo ni aje banko la taxo buka jino because mansala de sing me ya lonko aka media da panso aka walek adam na la molbe media da panso do ni wala le da panso buka jino andi buka kodo print kodo buka jina yiro santo kodo ka dokule kaksole kankoro dokundi ani kudol sa ni ko tebe balula mol tarole la man sabu ta balula mol la batale la kajem ko essence liter nim banko kan yanta $15 la fala je on to $16 la fala je andi wo $16 $15 to bo tala pour que la dapansi bal kala baro hayna ide yayla gambia kono kap kono jurma mol kan fo mol fan ka fo yumu munet Barrow be kono pise pasal ni o pise pasal o mambula ibuka mo charge me no $16 so ibuka fana injindi no so wala adama la promote sign pour essence o ji abe kono ara bawo iye moto men sa ye moto bal men sa fo si essence o ki ye amin ibe yi men na mumuru padi mo fo sa adapans ni ko be pise pasal te ni sino di ko ka sino do ko yeta 10% kuntu ye 15% ay kuntu mo buka la dunta damen we be katin dalako mansakunda is straight jacketed meaning they cannot move. You understand? They are not flexible. Not flexible because you find in the kule kono me alonko anafulo tije member bondi auto gambia so sa kamoneka tuje ka gambia to oppress us by taxing us more sa jireba nita paso for data la sign paso has no price now because nita the turntable ni ko tilbulo ye 15 jo kata burfut wando tanje ni ularo sita is for 25 ni suokuta is for $30 or $40 so there is no price in the country now, right? And ni ko the taxi driver for ni ko ininkala inika sonkala because everybody is frustrated and that will be illuminated why because of the mismanagement of the economy by Adam Barrow and the NPP.
Poliata parce que ndela hanina camera le de dabo kunan ko akati pass kumbol
mo be
ay ko pisale
ay mo
bisite kunan ko
ay mo berema Barrow la dapanso amoma bawo is still 150,000 per day you know when you look at the national budget or more than that so it will affect because they get free fuel, they have cars, it will be a transport job. Barrow na bita 100 vehicles like kabla no we bukala member o vehicle right government so many people moto kuto ba sanna every day the essential use la ni tamata e fanjo padi mo la ina so it ma Barrow na la click wol ma feel gamere nyanta nyelon wol ma feel and tribalism to at that level if all that corrupt tribalism, the corrupt people, you know, all those corrupt people, they are maningas, they are fullers, they are jollers, they are sound. When you know clico, you know mafia clico that are in India along with the Gambia and Afuno Tinakang, within themselves there is no tribalism. Don't for all. Whether you are, no matter what tribe you belong to, you are in pain. So Gambia nyanta jala zinela ko wato sita le kamansa sindi mansa me alongo alafta banko kala la korrati. Banko la constitution man son kinsipla. There is no kinship. It's president. Yeah. And more left them in the president yana edo ko ke eta. Ikana foko ita be more la banko wala mita fasuelti. No. That's not done. Waka banko tinyale. Gambia no jaje ni mansa meta always na be bola ka bot nyakaro la kon. Jawra me ke kaba bota kudeta le abon. Ya jamela meo alameta in 20 something years mina abon impasse le abon. Wala sa mbe sonna muna la pour commencer dona de kasijang pour ka vo mole ko ngasilo do ko ngani ka atare julu balleta o julu re fan katin na fan ni praxis be buka jino baro e julu men ta wala tin ko because ni julu ta sa e man ko do so do ibadu la investment kono pour ay fe wulu sa ni dem ka fe wulu o do mol la ita ka dontoro la fala rek so baro e julu ni aketa ka mo le ngasilo no jada ngani no o julu balu wala tin na mano fanan da be ko yani wala tina transportation be increase ka and transportation no be increase ka fam be le increase ka no Barola minister do mo fo sefol mbang o sefol be Barola sefol be kita economist side aga ko man boto on ka sa 1700 ite amo ko transportation no be lafakan ikata ko sa ka mo ko malo be o transportation no ka lafa o patense wafila ni garden wafila ni debe combo out lolu wala dapanso kala fale ita ka fo le banko be la fale sa Barrow safe only alcohol bake economy so just to fool us, to brainwash us. At a work la, I will do that, but at a work la. Yes.
Inshallah. Say ñine karla bomba kala mi tudo wala just kunun incident min ketanu gala member solo kunun namila 1 year anniversary tata pour ko la celebrate at the public monument on Nyimba Westby permanent fonkotal permitta from KMC but then imam permitta police over so tata le yemutali arrest han bi fam bina kananga policeol jemi jele pour ngaji ki ke batol ni men fitina ko danke ye arrest but then it is not clear but ngajel ko ye mo jama arrest ko non about 10 people being arrested samba and the people are saying it is unlawful parce que jemu public dulaki ya right total pour kataka ila anniversary ke je but opposite la keta so ite ofana yo ko nyaade whether it is unlawful wala for ila right link kataje ka ila anniversary ke je
yeah, I mean monument youth monument for me the right total kataje anytime, you know, to relax and enjoy themselves. And so long as imam problem cause, then why they arrest la? Just to go to the youth monument. Coming out if they arrest la, maybe they were less than 7 or less than 10. Maybe after the arrest monument in Atadul for arrest Gladol. But when arrest, initially arrest, they were not violent. Imantara crime, imantara killer, imantara verify, imantara fan, we see in the right. So when time because Barrow is jittery. Alamuza kunda be seeing government sitting on an egg. You see, she say kiloreka. So any problem, small problem, it can overreact. So Barrow government is overreacting. Gala is 1 year. And you know, commemorate because for the past 1 year, you know, and many along new demonstration of monitoring in May 2025, Oko into Funtila. Montalo moto wafta nyano. New demonstration of monkey. What a Gambia yes, this should be commemorated. Montalo na ko yung kordal ni APC pasal anin Barrow ni falsada yung fajara kordal ni nani kordal ni you know montalo na menketa. Still now, it will fall MP investigation. Ya kisi le by imam futa dangoto. Imam yakafang. So in the investigation, ya hand over to the police. What is that? So it means that Barrow is telling us still now call katale. It will fall call katale. But imam futa dangoto no hanisai. So we have to thank Melfutita for Melfutita demonstration. Okay, in 2025, right? Coming Melfutita demonstration again. Now moli ajele ko mamfunti kensanke vudita dalilo lela and wo corruption on na for akita Barola regime because mo ma for mentata ya jamme time moko mentata ya jamme time akita yadile what happened to it, right? Produce the list was the first slogan, right? Gambians against looted asset, the assets now it's confirmed, the assets are looted and they have not come back. Coming assembly for investigation up tonight, this is what combat. It will come partaserin. We don't partaserin. You understand? Some of the news all the partaserin. But having been, Barola government don't have the political will. Kajeko, Kaul Fenal Kafu, Makafu Moleko, Abitan, Ngayina recover, Yin Tatate, Namanya Nakate, Ngari Kovaten. So much do judge when revealed in the National Assembly. So, when we intended, could the Barrow government is full of incompetence. So it only go National Assembly I expose them, and I expose them in so much so that they don't want to hear anything about it. This whole thing about looted assets should die down. Right? For me, you know, if they have a right to demonstrate and to come out, you know, and express their views. Or this was not even a demonstration as far as I'm concerned. It was a commemoration. So you're right certainly to come out and commemorate because you know, in 1 year ago, the same circumstances are existing. Today is the 11th, isn't it? on the 11th last year. You know, I think we were released on the 11th or on the 10th, I don't know. But, you know, yes, it should be, because when you have to learn to new corruption or men, you know, is still prevalent. And then Adam Barrow within the young, new corruption or tabolaja.
Okay, Mr. Kurang, barka bake kuma kaw ni ñaate be important sa fente national programme mo bandulata iya kuma la banso to mi folo audience.
Yeah, barka bake be tentulambe jayla Eco TV. To ko ñaari 2026 abe dulale muna tinan ko abe ayanta dulale because banko be ni la banko tata fafuta in state to, right? Unemployment is so high. Gambia will be foninke be fakal in the back way, you know, more big kajifa back on like camera ko, you know, like chickens. People are dying like chickens. Why? Mune osabu because lack of opportunities. Say la moza kunda so make fanka for money ko say opportunity lack of opportunity ngal to ka wala complain. Okay, say opportunity do to take Singinja ka wala opportunity mbari safla for people be along ko ni Barrow dental wanto even Singinja dental or they bend for us. Eugene. So the frustration from lack of opportunity to now complete discrimination is bigger message and frustration to the Gambian youth. And Gambia population will be a monkey youth for Guinea for Alpha moving blood Adam Barrow political tainted. I see a year bang. Singinja government for operated like tina kate just by saying because Nimbanko me tina already opportunities man so now they are ready to show people the whole opportunity in the family. You must dance for Barrow put your opportunity news or the one day needing Barrow mambo real killing or village killing or any city mambo tribe killing, you cannot get those opportunities. Ridiculous. So the time to change is now. Almake useni dabola almake Mamadi almake moe na kenna bankole kaje ko falindiro ayenta kala 2026 mansa kana dali mo la fay mo yap anu wala be kerim Barrow daf ni be yabu legi ah wolbe yalo ko boy ingani samu in high school bibi ita grade 12 fang pass la ani grade 9 fang ita pass o kana kanya tinin mo la ani to gambano la mo le plaso diala mole yaja me confront kabrin Barrow ka dun ta laranda le kot musole amabo fo laranda ko fo tabulo ko to ba musole amabo dun ta all that fight that mole make to get it Singinja borta atata equatorial jine Barrow borta atata Dakar ay mo tudal li fi het ku fo li fi het la ya na sa bopa parce que yow sa dom ngay ñew sa set mi ngay ñëw yow lan nga foog ne noonu la ko yàlla di feye wa kaana abuhu salihan bi yàlla waaye si Quran bi ne baay bu nekk sa doom ñu ko feye booy li nga def do every human being what they will pay your children when you go is what you sow. That's the Quran. So yow nga nekk fii nga dooleel wiir boo xam ne mu ngi ticatu mu ngi def may tey mu ngi def discrimination mu ngi nga foog ne yow comme laalut la dara jotut la waaye yàlla mun na foog ne sa noppi bi mooy ne da nga support loolu lu bon kon lii di yëfi xeet du yëfi dara yëfi politics yëfi Gambia la ku wala kaje ko ino moron di yemen balu wala be mu ila dimbayal kan o do ni believe tawla imanya na tilimbali ajala membe kerim bi Adam Barrow be men nanata ko mole 3 years aboda ja ko 5 years aboda ja ko 10 years aka fa mole alinke kinti for 10 15 years 20 years abeni tilimbali abeni sunyar ba abeni corruption o do mo nyante ni la la
barka baka kaltina to programme bandula Mr. Kurang barka bake ni invitation ona nyame inshallah ngani next time fana ba episode do fana kelale ngano ka ba gana interesting la so ngani jiwer lalu ko nga fala mi nyame do ali atra kan ko Facebook TikTok ani Instagram ani YouTube pour kanya video si fa interesting jamaji ala barka